What's up, everybody? It is Sunday night, which means you're getting Josh Engelman instead of Jake Hari for the Night Shift podcast. Going to take a look at Monday, August 27th slate. 7 games only, so I haven't had a nice short slate in a while. I'm excited to dive into it. Going to take a look at 3 top stacks for me tomorrow, and then a couple of my top-rated pitchers. So as of right now, most of the gambling sites have the Angels starter and the Giants starter off the board. Per Fangraphs, we have Despagne going for the Angels, and we have Chris Stratton likely going for the Giants, but that is definitely going to be up in the air. Tune into the morning show with myself and Jake to check it out. We can dig into that a little bit deeper later. But for now, it's stack time. And my number one stack on both sites tomorrow would be the Toronto Blue Jays. Blue Jays in an excellent spot. I've got them with a 5.1 run implied total. They are at the Orioles and noted not good pitcher David Hess. I'm really loving the top of the Blue Jays lineup here. Billy McKinney grading out really well. Devon Travis, Justin Smoke. Kendry Morales basically only hits dongs at this point, so you might as well take him. Randall Grichuk, 2,700 on FanDuel, really nice price. You're not going to find a much better value anywhere else. Anytime David Hess is pitching, you need to look to be targeting against him. He's absolutely atrocious. Projects with a 5.98 FIP via Steamer. 5.1 run implied total for the Blue Jays is the current highest implied total on the slate. I'll be loading up on the Jays for sure. Both sites, you can get a nice outfield, second base, first base, top of the order pairing, and then fill it out with either Kevin Pillar or Gurriel. Gurriel will be a little bit more tough on DK. At least you could use the shortstop eligibility. But Gurriel and then Travis are both second basemen on FanDuel. I probably wouldn't do 2 second basemen from the Jays lineup. I'd be looking to pick up a little bit more power. That's a spot where, you can go to Smoke and Morales, get the 2 first baseman bats in. But Blue Jays look great and shouldn't be a terribly huge surprise. I expect them to be relatively chalky tomorrow. My number 2 stack is my number 2 stack on FanDuel. They're actually my number 3 on DK, but that would be the Rockies. Surprise, actually. Rockies not in Colorado. This is at the Angels. And like I said, we're looking at Despagne, if I'm saying that correctly. I know I looked up the pronunciation on one of the shows this week. I think it's rolling off the tongue correctly. It's not really that important. Rocky stack, we're looking at Charlie Blackmon. We're looking at Cargo 2,900 on FanDuel, just a really good bargain price point. I like Nolan Arenado quite a bit here. David Dahl, if he's sitting in the 6 hole, is in a really, really nice spot. The implied total is not as big as I expected it would be. Only 4.5. Angels Park, not too shabby. The Rockies have been really bad against righties this year, but I think that the guys in their lineup from Blackmon through even Ryan McMahon, honestly, they're much better than the 78 weighted runs created plus that the Rockies have put up this season. They've shown good power numbers, 168 ISO. That's a little bit above league average. You would expect a little bit higher, but honestly, that's not too bad. I like having the Rockies here because they're just not going to be facing any good starting pitching. And on a 7-game slate, I'm going to try to find any sort of bargain I can. They're relatively cheap on FanDuel, so I like them. That's why they're my number 2 stack on that site. They're a little bit harder to fit in on DK, especially if you're trying to go to someone like Garrett Cole, who's at 12K, or even if you're trying to go to Pat Corbin. I'm not sure the Rockies would be the best stack for you, but on FanDuel, they're a little bit more affordable. I think that you can use someone like Garrett Cole in the Rockies without any real issue. Now, my 3rd stack of the day is the New York Yankees. They are 2nd on DraftKings, 5th on FanDuel. Yankees at home, facing the White Sox. So this is going to be It's an interesting matchup because Carlos Rodon is really the only guy that I like for the White Sox from a pitching perspective. I try to stack against James Shields all the time and Luke Giolito all the time and Ronaldo Lopez all the time. And Carlos Rodon's actually pretty good. He projects with an 8.8 K per 9 via Steamer. That's a really solid rate. 4.4 FIP. He's just a really quality, mid-tier starter. But the Yankees are projecting to run out 9 right-handed bats. They have a 5.1 run implied total, which is tied with the Blue Jays. I just have a hard time seeing Rodon be able to get through this. It's simply too many right-handed bats for him to navigate. Whether it's Hicks at the top of the order, Stanton, Andahar, Torres, Neil Walker. Neil Walker and Hicks have both been better against lefties in their career, but it's still a right-handed bat. Honestly, I think that almost the entire lineup is in play, especially on FanDuel, where the bottom 4 guys in the lineup, no one's priced at higher than 2,300. So if you wanted to go to Torres at second/short on shortstop, or Shane Robinson, I don't have much problem there, but the bread's going to get buttered 1 to 6 from Hicks, Stanton, Andahar, Torres, Walker, and Voit. I just don't see Rodon making it out of this alive. He's got great stuff, but righty after righty after righty is really going to bury you at some point in time. I'm taking a look now at Rodon's splits, so I'm happy to be proven surprised, but he has struggled big time against righties this year. Just a 6.8 Ks per 9. He's been incredibly lucky with a 219 BABIP and a 5.10 xFIP against right-handed hitters in 2018. Let's see what his career numbers look like, because I don't think that's going to help him much. So he's been better for his career against righties, but still a full run above the left-handedness. So this is a tough spot. A whip of 1.41 against righties for his entire career. You just can't afford to be putting guys on in this scenario, because if you got guys on for someone like Stanton, that ball's going to go a long way, and he's going to clear them out real quick. Love the Yankees tomorrow. I wish that I didn't, because I don't liking the Yankees in anything. What are you going to do? I'd rather have money. So those are my 3 top stacks for today, or for Monday, rather. I think we should shimmy on over to the pitching, where Garrett Cole, 10-8 on FanDuel, not the most expensive pitcher. He is $300 behind Pat Corbin. But Cole is the most expensive pitcher on DraftKings at an even 12,000. I love Cole tomorrow. I think that the spot is, one of my favorites. I think there's a lot of swing and miss in the A's projected lineup for tomorrow. Whether that's Matt Chapman hitting second, Chris Davis, Matt Olson, Laureano, Fegley. These guys have the propensity to K, so I'm going to bet on Cole to do so. I don't necessarily mind Corbin all that much at 11.5, but I really like Masahiro Tanaka at 9,500. He's a guy that I think that will be really close to my ownership caps tomorrow. Just a combination of upside and price. Like I said, the Yankees have the White Sox. The White Sox have the worst strikeout rates against righties in the league. 26% of the time they are striking out against righties. So I'm going to have a ton of Tanaka. On DK, my pitcher exposure has a cap of 56%. It's a cap of 45% on FanDuel. Tanaka is 10-2 on FanDuel, so I won't be near the ownership cap there. But I think that he's going to be, when I'm able to crunch, I would guess that I get more than 40% of Tanaka easy on DraftKings, and I would expect to be in the 50 to 56% range. Perfect combination of price, strikeout upside. I like all of it there. I'm not as keen on Strasburg if I can pay up $400 more for Tanaka. Strasburg has a lower floor and a lower projected value for me. Tanaka with a 17% chance of being a top 2 value pitcher on DraftKings. I only have Strasburg at 13%. They tend to go up a little bit as the salary drops. That should make some sense. And for tomorrow, I think that Tanaka is going to pinch out Strasburg. I don't particularly like John Gray or Carlos Rodon. I think you can make a mini case for John Lester at 8,200, but you'll want to pay attention to the wind in that game to see if it's feasible to roster Lester in Wrigley rather. From a value perspective, I've been rostering him a lot lately to mixed results, but Sam Gaviglio is a nice, probably my favorite SP2 option. He's got the Orioles. Orioles only have a 4.4 run implied total. Tons of swing and miss in the Orioles projected lineup. VR strikes out 27% of the time. Trey Mancini, 24% of the time. Chris Davis, 35% of the time. Renato Nunez, Beckham, Andrioli, Caleb Joseph, all 24% or higher. There's a chance for Gaviglio to be able to miss some bats. It's not really his forte, but when he's facing someone that strikes out so much, he might be able to be a little bit more aggressive, get some stuff working early. So I think Sam Gaviglio will be one of my higher owned pitchers, particularly in the value area. I see him as a pretty natural pairing with Cole and Tanaka. Tanaka in particular, if I roster Tanaka and Gaviglio on DraftKings at a combined $16,500 or an average salary of $8,250, that's a spot where I like to be for my pitcher pricing on DraftKings. So I think they naturally go well together. I don't know how I'm going to drop. I don't know what my best option is going to be to fit in Cole. That $12,000 price point, normally I would want to drop down to Despagne or Hess. I'm going to have a hard time doing that. I don't really like either of their spots. So Cole might be, I might have to look to more cheap bats tomorrow. On DraftKings, if we're looking for cheap stacks, we're going to have to look at something like the Mets, $29,800 in total salary. You can try to get by with something like the Diamondbacks. The Rockies and Blue Jays are kind of tough with Garrett Cole now that I'm looking at this. The Yankees are oddly cheap if you leave Stanton out. I don't know how comfortable you would be doing that, but you can get to a cheaper Yankee stack if need be to be able to balance out any Cole exposure. It won't be that much of an issue for Cole at 10-8 on FanDuel. I expect Tanaka to be quite popular on FanDuel. I expect Strasburg to be popular. I oddly like Chris Stratton on FanDuel. I don't feel proud of that, but at 5,600, he has the opportunity to be a nice value if things break well. I'm always willing to take a shot on Stratton when the game is in San Francisco. Just has the ability to limit damage if he can get hit lucky. I like the idea of being able to go cheaper for Stratton on FanDuel to be able to pay up and get, a ton of the best Blue Jays bats. Use a stack with Stanton, whether you want to go to even someone, relatively expensive like the Rockies. You can still really easily get to Arenado and Blackmon and Story, even with some of the more expensive bats of the Blue Jays. I think Stratton would go really nicely to keep you unique in that, in a way that most people don't go on FanDuel. I'd expect to have some Stratton in the morning. Alrighty. 3 stacks. My favorite pitchers, Cole, Tanaka, Gaviglio, just from an overall sense. Top stacks, Blue Jays, Rockies, Yankees. Big changes coming. FanVice guys are starting to be integrated. I had my first show today with EMAC breaking down the slate. I thought it really went well. Tomorrow morning it'll be back to myself and Jake, and we're slowly but surely getting to more and more content. Football soon, but this is baseball. I will be here 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, myself, Jake Hari, doing the full breakdown of the 7-game slate. Then it'll be myself and the returning Chris Spags, live before lock, 6 p.m. tomorrow. After a week's vacation, I'm sure Spags is ready to just dive in and get back to baseball. So tune in for that. I hope everyone had a good weekend. And sweet dreams if you listen to this tonight. Good morning if you listen to me in the morning. Adios.